All right, you're listening to Table 12 Podcast. Danny Barr, Paul Marino, Rob in the next room.
How you doing, Danny?
Guys, how are you?
Hello.
You okay in there, Rob?
I'm good.
So when we did the last segment and we signed off, I'm watching the monitor with Rob, and I'm waiting for him to hit the button to turn us off before we say anything inappropriate. And he's just sitting there. He's just absolutely sitting there, not doing anything. I'm thinking, Rob, are you busy? You gonna catch you?
I got a little concerned.
And then I realized the screen was frozen. So we're getting used to this.
No, Rob's getting back in the groove now. You know, he's moving everybody around. He's got, I don't know who he's got coming in. He's got somebody coming in here. Sammy Hagar or somebody's coming in next week. So
Youngblood and Steven Tyler coming in.
So he had to move us into the separate area.
Rob, have you seen Youngblood yet?
I have not.
I recommend everyone check this guy out. You know who he is?
Yeah, yep. He played at the Ozzy Osbourne thing.
Did.
Yeah.
And he did changes. He's just fantastic. I tried to get tickets to see him in Atlantic City, and they were untouchable. So, yeah. I have a limit of how much I spend, but tickets for like $500.
500?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
He's one of the biggest stars on the planet right now. I understand. That's why I didn't get him. But I'm going to see Jim Jeffries in 2 weeks.
Who's Jim Jeffries?
He's an Australian comic.
Oh.
I'm making my first trip to the Beacon.
Really?
I've never been to the Beacon.
Wow.
So, but he's absolutely hysterical, inappropriate.
Oh, he's right up your alley then.
Oh yeah, I love the guy. So, and to him, the C word is not even a swear word.
I don't. Yeah, yeah.
But really looking forward to it. So listen, we haven't talked politics. We don't do it that much. We haven't done it in a while, but just too much has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so I figured I'd bring it up to you and get your take. And let's just start with the easy one, Venezuela. There's a lot of people on both sides of this. I completely understand why he did it. First of all, to get rid of a dictator. I love the fact that the protesters who just protested no kings is okay with dictators.
Right.
But it turns out that no matter how bad of a person you are, you're entitled to due process. But I see this.
But he's getting due process.
He's going to now, yeah.
So what's the problem then?
Excuse me. They, my opinion is that obviously oil. Oil's a big factor. Venezuela is a huge
because we built
producer
oil fields over there, and they took them from us.
And they took them away.
Yeah.
But they were selling 90% of their oil to China.
Which we still will.
Not that much. Because they need oil for energy, which then helps them develop AI. And I think that's what this all comes down to, is AI.
Okay.
And if you deprive them of energy, you deprive them of being able to move forward in your development of AI.
Okay.
And the oil's coming.
Well, but his statement was that he was going to fix the oil fields and sell, and the oil companies were going to sell. He would have no problem selling to Russia or China. That's what he said.
At a minimal amount.
Okay.
They
weren't getting much anyway because they weren't producing much.
But we'll see. But I just find it funny that they're actually protesting to free Maduro.
They don't even know why they protest, other than what they're being told to say.
And this also screws Cuba. And
because they were selling them the oil?
Well, Cuba was supplying security for Maduro.
Uh-huh.
And now that's no longer needed.
Right.
So they, obviously Mamdani's pissed, because you're shining a light on that socialism doesn't work. You look at what Venezuela was prior to socialism and what it is now. At one point they had the most beautiful beaches on the planet. And now you can't go to them.
Right.
So But anytime you shine a light on failure of socialism, the socialists, AOC and Sanders and Mondani, get upset.
Right.
But the funny thing about this is all the Democrats were speaking out against it. All they did was enforce an indictment that was done by the Biden administration.
It was 2020. It wasn't a Trump indictment.
No, it was under Biden. It's DOJ. They indicted him. They just never went and got him.
Right.
And we went and got him without losing an American.
But they also told the guy, just leave Venezuela. You got billions of dollars. Go someplace and just be out of it.
Right.
And they wouldn't have pursued him if he would have got out of the country. So and I saw on him saying, "Come get me."
Oh yeah,
come get me. Well, they went and got him.
So they went and got him.
So all he did was enforce an indictment that was brought up in 2020 by another administration. Okay, just like Obama did with an indictment on bin Laden being the public enemy number one. That was under George Bush. Obama got him. Went in, because they were saying it was
which Biden did not want him to do. Biden was against taking bin Laden out. But, it's no different than the border. There's no new laws. There's no new policies.
Enforcing the ones you got.
Just enforcing the ones you have.
And they caused this problem for 4 years. But go ahead.
So that brings us to Minnesota.
Yeah.
I don't understand how Minnesota became so screwed up. I don't understand it. And it seemed like it just happened in the last few years. Like I never talked about Minnesota before.
No. Not since Mary Tyler Moore went off the air.
And that was a great show. They and I spent a week there in January years ago for work in Lakeville, actually, coincidentally enough, which is where the hotel refused to let federal agents book a room. And Hilton, did you hear about this?
No.
And it said Hilton on the building. It turned out that they were a franchise, not Hilton owned, and Hilton stripped their name off the building after they did this, but they were refusing to book rooms to federal agents, which is just crazy. It's taking it too far. And I, again, what you just said is none of them would be there.
Why are these people going after? It's like, would you attack a police? I'm not going to attack a cop in an intersection when he's doing his job. I'm bringing it down to a scale that we can understand living around here. I'm not going to, whether I like something they're doing or not, I'm not jumping in there and telling the cop anything or yelling in his face. Then I'm getting arrested. I don't understand how these people, and it's the Democratic leaders that are causing it, because they're not toning anybody down, and you have groups that are paying for it. The disruption and the chaos.
Yeah, well, just to back up, the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, is a lunatic. He's an absolute lunatic. And he wants to incite. Excuse me. But I was doing some homework, and Ice Watch is they have chapters all over the country, and their job is to dox ICE agents and find out where their raids are going to happen and put it out there and get people to come protest and actually go as far as, if a detainee's in custody, to fight them to get the detainee out of custody. They've gone as far as...
But why are we championing for old criminals? I've never heard anybody come out and say anything about victims.
And the people they arrested over there, you look at the resume of these people, and they're murderers and rapists. One of them is charged with manslaughter, pedophilia, really bad people.
Why?
And Fry says our police can take care of it, but they're not. And again, I feel like we have a constitution, but it's a constitution of convenience. It's only a constitution if what you're doing I agree with. But if I don't agree with you, then the hell with the Constitution.
Right. Well, what did the people do when they came over and got vetted in Ellis Island? Your ancestors and mine. What did they do? They didn't come here to make the country worse. They built the country and they conformed to the laws of the country. They didn't, and I'm not saying all the people that came over the border, there's not 20 million criminals, but they didn't vet nobody. So now all they're trying to do is try to make the people safe here, and they don't want us to be safe. They want a champion for the criminals.
Sometimes I wonder if it's just an anti-government movement that is just using this as a way. Like if ICE wasn't there right now doing this, then that Minnesota chapter would be protesting something else.
They're gonna find, if this was resolved, there's another issue. Just like you said before, you're protesting. Trump's not a king. He's no king's rallies. Okay, we don't want dictators here. Yet the people were happy when they took the dictator out in Venezuela, but you don't care about those people either that were happy that he was gone.
No,
it's not, because it ruins your narrative.
Well, it's funny. I heard today how the people that are here in the United States that are supporters of the Iranian people, not supporters of Iran, not the regime, but the supporters of the Iranian people, are holding protests, and that they're upset because the No Kings people are not helping them. It's just not their cause.
No.
So, Palestine got settled, they moved on to something else. Musk got into a fight with Trump, they stopped burning Teslas.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's just going to be. It's going to be chaos.
And it's all rooted in anti-Trump.
It's all rooted in anti-Trump.
And so ICE Watch is part of an anti-Trump group called Indivisible Project. And Indivisible Project has chapters in pretty much every state, right? And they are funded by Soros. And it's called the Soros Open Society Foundation. And a lot of their funding comes from that. And that's the group that trains these protesters and organizes them. I'm not saying they get paid. I'm not saying that. I don't know why they would put themselves in harm's way for no compensation. I don't, maybe that's just my cynicism talking. But I would have to believe really damn deeply about something to go stand in front of a cop in a dangerous situation if I'm not being compensated somehow.
And they're not allowed to be, the cops can't defend themselves, according to these people. I heard that Omar on there saying that the person that, look, I don't want to see nothing happen to anybody, but you're putting yourself in a position where something's going to happen. And she says that woman was only just backing up. She was going to school,
right.
backing. Like they're always, but I've never heard one of these Democratic politicians say anything about the people. You can make the list out that publicly got killed by criminals. Never once did they ever fight for the victims and say anything about the victims. It's always that the criminal was not wrong. The criminal did. What are you doing to him?
Well, the happiest person in Minnesota right now is Omar, Ilhan Omar, because they're not talking about the Somalian fraud anymore. Like it knocked Somalian fraud off the front page. And I had read years ago, and I think about it every time there's a big controversy or something like this going on. The news cycle's 72 hours. So if you're a politician and you get tangled up in something bad, hang in there, because in 72 hours no one's going to be talking about it anymore because something else is going to happen. And I'll be damned if Omar, when the Somalia fraud case broke open, she started doing the Sunday morning shows talking about how it's not just Somalians and this is racist and you're all racist and all that. But then when the evidence started coming out little by little every day, she stopped talking about it. And then all of a sudden, this woman gets killed. Omar's back on the podium.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's as long as you just hang in there, so the subject's going to change. And these protests, you could make a list of all the different protests just in the last year. Just in the last year, since the inauguration, January 20th. It's not even a year yet.
Right.
Right? And they got this guy for 3 more years. And, you know, there was really no chaos while Biden was president. There was chaos before that. Then there was no chaos. And now there's chaos again.
Yeah.
What's the common denominator? You know, so it's just, I just shake my head at it. You know, just shake my head. And today the Supreme Court has 2 cases on biological males competing in women's sports. Why does that have to go to the Supreme Court?
I don't know.
It's just crazy. All these causes and all these issues that are so important to people that are just common sense. Not right.
No.
You know, but there's a certain level of self-entitlement and arrogance to the protesters. And I saw a clip of a cop telling a woman she's got to move on. She's got to move on. You can't be here. It can be dangerous. And he says, I don't want you to make a bad decision. And she said to the cop from her car window, apparently I'm the only one making the right decision. And that's the problem. That's the attitude.
Yeah.
Go be unhappy a block away. Why do you have to drive through the middle of it? You know, you see these people, and I'm not picking anyone out. I'm not saying anyone specific, but you see these protesters challenge the cops, and not just federal cops. You see them challenge local cops. Minneapolis cops had to go help.
But they said it's only a peaceful demonstration. It's not peaceful. You're allowed to demonstrate if you want, but you got to do it a certain way. You can't just disrupt the whole.
They're spitting. They're throwing snowballs.
Yeah.
And I love the technique of, I'm going to scream in your face until you're completely annoyed and walk away. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to repeat myself. I'm going to repeat the same line over and over and over again at the top of my lungs until you just finally get fed up and walk away. And then I'll call that a victory.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I don't understand it, but I'll never be right. You're not going to, it's an argument you're never going to win. You're never going to convince anyone. You're not going to turn anybody around. It's just what it is. And I'm on Facebook, and I have friends that are liberal, and I sometimes read their stuff. Most of the time I scroll by. I'm not going to get into it with them. I'm not going to, because it's a waste of time and a waste of energy. You know, I'm not going to convince anyone. It's just like, you know, conspiracy theorists. You're not going to convince them. There's still flat earthers out there. And you know, it doesn't matter what you say. They won't be convinced, because in order to be convinced, they would have to admit they're wrong.
But these leaders, their strategy, I don't see how it if everything stays the way it was prior to the last election, the same people are not going to vote. People are going to vote for the midterms.
They're counting on so historically the midterms go to the opposite party of the president. So that's what they're counting on. And if it does go that way, then they're going to win the House back. And you know what that means? That
impeachment.
means the next 2 years after that, it'll be nothing but impeachments.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
But I mean, do you think that this will make the people come out and vote for the Republicans, so that this doesn't get turned over? Because I mean,
well, I don't think it's going to change anyone into a Republican. I think the Republicans got to get off the couch and go vote.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm asking.
But it's just, We've got 3 more years of this. So my thought is this. There's a certain number of sanctuary states in this country, and they should hold a referendum. They should hold a statewide referendum this November asking the people of their state, do you want to be a sanctuary state? And this is just my theory that, like, you know, cities should not be allowed to act independently of the state. So the state votes, and if the people vote, yes, I want to live in a sanctuary state, and they win the numbers, and that's the majority, okay, then you're a sanctuary state. If the people vote no, I don't want to live in a sanctuary state, then you don't become one. Then you are not one. And so if the people of Illinois say no, because the leaders are the ones deciding this.
Yes.
And so if the people of Illinois vote no, I don't want us to be a sanctuary state, then Chicago doesn't get to be a sanctuary city. New York City does not get to be one if the rest of the state doesn't want it. Okay? It should just go to referendum. If you are, so Waltz said something this past week. We don't need any help from the federal government. Flat out. Minnesotans can take care of ourselves. We don't need any help. Okay. I would pull every federal agent out of that state right now. You want to be a sanctuary state? Fine. You're going to get the bottom of the barrel criminals coming into your state because they know they're safe. And then when you start seeing bad things happening, then you're going to have to ask for help. But leave it up to the people. Leave it up to the people to vote if they want to be a sanctuary state. And I would bet you more people that want it won't go vote. But if you don't want it, you're going to go vote. And but right now it's the leaders. Pritzker's deciding if Illinois is a sanctuary state. And Brandon Johnson, right? Brandon Johnson, is that his name? The mayor of Chicago?
Yeah.
He's deciding that Chicago is a sanctuary state. Mamdani decided New York is a sanctuary city under his term. Well, half the people in the city didn't vote for him.
25 years after, we're coming up on the 25th anniversary of 9/11. We must never forget. That's the saying, we never forget.
Never forget.
Well, we forgot. They forgot over in New York because that should never have happened.
Because a lot of the people that, keep in mind, there's a lot of voters that weren't even born.
Yeah.
So they don't have that memory. And it's a waiting game. And they waited it out. But it's, you know, the young voters today are not going to remember. Most voters today don't remember the Cold War. So that's why they don't have a problem with socialism. Like, we grew up knowing how evil socialism was. It was on the news every night, the bread lines, and hell, even Wendy's made fun of it with the commercial evening wear, swim wear. Remember that?
Yeah.
Right? And she was wearing the same gray smock in every thing. So we grew up with that. These people did not. These young people. So they don't know how bad it was. We grew up with Castro being in the news and seeing what he did to Cuba. These people didn't grow up with that. All these young people.
No.
So that's what's going on. And that's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong. Let's take a caller.
I wish we could take a caller, but if we don't win the midterms and win the president again, we're going to go right back to everything. I mean, we had no chaos for 4 years, but they caused the chaos that we're having now because they brought all these people in that were, you know.
No, but the chaos, the common denominator of the chaos
is Trump.
Is the left when they're not in charge.
Right. No, yeah, you're right.
And you know, some really good things happen, and they will not admit to it.
Because the country don't come first. I just don't think it does. They act like they're no.
Socialism only works, which it never works, but I'm going to say only has a chance to work if everybody is dependent on the government. If you're self-sufficient, then you don't help socialists. Socialists need to take care of you. That's how they get control.
Yeah.
So that's why they want grocery stores and daycares and buses all paid for by taxes, because then people become reliant on the government for them to live their lives.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way. But you own your own business and you're successful and you're raising your family and you don't need social services at all. You don't need public transportation. You don't fit. You're not who they want. So, okay, we're going to tax the billionaires. All right, billionaires move out. They can afford to move out. Wall Street can go work anywhere they want now. They don't need to be on Wall Street. Okay, then get out. You know, and I've said it to you before. What's the level of wealthy? I'm going to tax the wealthy. Well, what's the top 1%? Okay, well, the top 1% moves out. So the next 1% becomes the top 1%.
Yeah.
And then they move out. And before you know it, you're taxing the people who aren't rich because you're the only ones left to pay it.
Right.
And I'm telling you, it's going to be a repeat of Dinkins. That's what I'm waiting to see, you know.
As far as what?
New York City is going to go back to what we used to see
Oh, yeah.
when Dinkins and Koch were mayor.
Mm-hmm. You mean the way the city looks? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember that. And I remember after going back there, after Giuliani and Bloomberg had it, it was cleaned up and.
Bloomberg doesn't get the credit he
sustained what Giuliani did.
Yes.
Yeah.
They never talk about him.
No, but he sustained what Giuliani. It's the same thing I'm saying before. You know, if this doesn't stay like this for a while, it's going to go right back to the way it was with the previous 4 years. Oh, I don't know.
Okay, I hope this was entertaining.
No, it wasn't. But like you said, we got to touch on everything.
Well, you got to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's in the news.
Yep.
You know, we don't talk about it every week.
It's like having Walter Cronkite in the studio, Rob, over here.
Oh, yeah?
Why? I look like I've been dead for 20 years?
No, because you just have this, you know, you're a vont with the politics. You know what I mean? You're a savant.
I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the other thing I'll say real quick before we sign off, is that the elected officials on the federal level are celebrities. When have you ever seen that? You know, and I know the 24-hour news cycle and television networks like CNN and Fox and MSNBC make them celebrities. But like when I was a kid, I couldn't tell you who the congressman was.
Well, it's not only that. The biggest difference for me is after you get past an election, whether a Republican lost or a Democrat lost, it kind of went back to the center. They were still Americans. They supported the president. They did. I mean, I got to go back 50 years, but now it's just a constant upheaval. And this is how the Roman Empire ended.
Yeah, but my point, sorry, is that like AOC is one of the most recognizable people in the country. I get it. When has a congressperson from Queens been famous? Like, I couldn't tell you who they were.
Yeah. Famous for the wrong reasons.
Well, yeah, but it's because they're on TV all the time and social media. And we just get inundated with it.
Yep. I try to be honest with you, Dan, I touch on this stuff when I'm home. I don't, I'm interested in it, but it aggravates me, so I have to turn it off after 20 minutes because it's frustrating.
Well, I just have to tell you that I do appreciate you being honest.
I'm always honest.
Well, then you shouldn't have to tell me you're being honest.
Okay. All right, guys, we're going to call it a day. See you, Rob.
See ya.